Welcome, everybody. Hope you're having a great Labor Day. This is the Monday recap here on USB, Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast. Thank you for being with me. I hope you guys are having a great one. Hope you had a great weekend. Yes, we got a lot to talk about last week. Saw quite a bit of games. Obviously, we got the Friday stuff. Super excited. So thank you for being with me. Again, I hope everybody's having a great Labor Day. Hope you guys are staying safe out there. Hey, again, thank you. This is USB, Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast. And if you're new to what we do here, we cover Tooele County High School sports. Primarily, we cover Grantsville High School, Tooele, Stansbury, and the newly added Deseret Peak High School. For the most part, I'd say our coverage is probably better towards the football and basketball aspects of those four schools. But I do try my best to incorporate other programs, but I'm only one person and I'm not familiar with a lot of the other ones. So, but nonetheless, we do our best to shout these young athletes out, the hard work that they're doing, their teams, and what success they may be seeing or what success they may not be seeing. That's also another aspect that we kind of cover here. So, none of this is for money. I don't do any of this for money. I'm not making money off these kids. I just enjoy getting to see what they do and the growth that they make, and I just like sports in general. All right. So none of this is to benefit my financial pockets. I want to make sure that is very, very clear. That is not why I do this. So please, anything that you share, it's to help those guys. So please do so, especially if you like something. We haven't got a ton of highlight coverage or things like that. Plus the season's kind of just getting started for most of the sports, primarily football, I guess. But so all the stats aren't there. We like to highlight, stat leaders and things like that. So as the season progresses, that will get a little bit better, I hope. But nonetheless, again, remember this is anything shared is to just, obviously it helps build the brand, right? But the brand is based around trying to help them. So please continue to do so if you're not doing that already. We have Facebook, Instagram, Twitter or X, which I'm not overly active on because mainly I forget that it's there. And then obviously our YouTube channel where we do all the podcast stuff. So this is the recap, the Monday recap, where we talk about the previous week's games. Okay. And what we saw from our schools there. So with that, obviously we're going to probably talk a lot more about football than anything else. But with that, let's kind of highlight some of the games that we saw last week. And we'll start off with soccer, okay? Now, the Stansbury ladies, they pretty much had a rivalry week last week, an inter-county matchup week for them. They started out against Deseret Peak, which they won that one 9-1. And then they followed that up on the 27th where they played Tooele. Now, both these games were at home for Stansbury, and they ended up beating Tooele 5-1. So they win both their games last week, and they moved to 7-1 on the season. They're having a fantastic season. Their only loss this year coming to Mountain Crest. Other than that, it's been pretty dominant performance. They're definitely winning the inter-county matchups. They beat all three of our schools by very good margins. So definitely the team to beat in Tooele County is Stansbury. They're doing a fantastic job. So congratulations to those ladies. They will see their next game on the 3rd, so Wednesday, I believe, on the road at Bear River. So good luck to them moving into this week. And great job. Great job last week. Great job to you ladies. As for Tooele soccer, those ladies are sitting at 2-6 on the season. Bit of a tough week for them last week. They started their week off against Skyview where they would lose that one 3-1. And then obviously they played Stansbury where they would also lose 5-1. Their 2 wins this year is against Delta and Canyon View. Other than that, it's been kind of a rough go for the ladies. So they're looking to bounce back this coming week. I think this week, the 8th. So maybe that's actually probably next Monday. Where they'll be at home against Bear River. So the team that Stansbury is playing. They'll take them on next Monday, it looks like, at 4 p.m. So hopefully they can get their season turned around and kind of bounce back there. So good luck, ladies. Keep your heads up and keep grinding. You'll get there. As for Grantsville soccer, those ladies are sitting at 4-4 on the season. A little bit of a tough week for them as well because they were off. So they were off. They couldn't even better that they didn't have a game at all last week. But they start out this week. They will have a game on the 4th, where they'll be on the road against the, I'm pretty sure, newly added to their region, Logan. And that game will be at 3:30 p.m. up there in Logan. So good luck to them. But prior to that, they're kind of coming off a rocky last 3 games. They're definitely looking to bounce back after a very promising and good start. They started the season off 4-1. So really good start for them, but they have struggled in the last 3. So hopefully they're able to get that turned around as they hit the road this week to take on Logan. Good luck, ladies, and can't wait to see what you guys do. So good luck and safe travels, because that's a long drive. As for our Deseret Peak Golden Eagles women's soccer, they're not doing too hot this year. They're sitting at 0-8 on the season. Looks like they only got 1 goal the whole season, so definitely struggling there. But it was a real tough week for them last week. They started their week off against Stansbury, where they would lose that one 9-1. Then they took on Ridgeline on the 27th, and all I can say about that is keep your heads up, get your mind right. Hopefully you can move on for it, because they would get beat down 22-0. Tough game for them in that one. So ladies, keep your heads up, keep grinding, keep building, because much like our football program and everything else, this is the first year for this school. Okay, so there's a lot of things to figure out. There's an entire culture to build. So you expect that there's going to be some troubling waters, right? And so keep that head up, keep those heads up, and just keep grinding. Focus on improving the things that you can improve. But yeah, and they look to turn their season around on the 15th, where they'll take on Skyview at home at 4 p.m. So plenty of time off for them to kind of get their heads right and maybe reevaluate a few things. But yeah, tough season so far for the Deseret Peak Golden Eagles ladies soccer team. So good luck to you ladies moving forward, and we hope that you guys make improvements. Now in volleyball, the Stallions girls volleyball team is sitting at 3-5 on the season. Last week, it looks like they had 3 games last week. They started their week off in an inter-county rivalry game against Grantsville, where they would win that one 3-2 in a tightly contested one there. They would then go to Dixie, where they would lose 3-0, and then Snow Canyon, where they would lose 3-2. They look to get back to their winning ways after those 2 losses, as they face Ridgeline at home, it looks like, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. So good luck to you ladies, but not too terrible. 3-5, definitely plenty of time to kind of come back, and they've got plenty of matches scheduled, and still have a really good season. So bounce back from those 2 losses, ladies, and keep grinding. As for the Tooele volleyball ladies, they're sitting at 2-4 on the season. Looks like last week they had 2 matches for themselves. They would lose both these. Unfortunately, Tooele is on a 4-game losing streak. But last week they would start their week out against Alta, where they would lose that one 3-0. And then they faced Ridgeline on the 28th, where they would also lose 3-0. So they look to get back and bounce back a little bit. They started their season out real strong with 2 wins right out the gate, but it's been kind of a downhill progression from there. So they're looking to get back to their winning ways, tomorrow at 6:30 p.m., where they'll take on the Green Canyon Wolves at home. So good luck to you ladies. Get back to it, and yeah, same kind of thing, right? Like, they've got plenty of matches left to turn their season around. So I definitely don't think it's crisis mode for them by any means. So good luck, ladies, and just keep grinding. As for the Grantsville Cowboys, or girls, however you want to say it, volleyball team, they're sitting at 5-7 on the year so far, so not too shabby for them. Last week they saw 2 matches, it looks like. They started their week out against Stansbury, which we already talked about that. They would lose that inter-county matchup with a score of 3-2. And then they would also lose on the 28th to Delta on the road out there in Delta. They would lose 3-1. Now the Grantsville ladies are on a current 6-game losing streak after starting out, 5-1. So they're definitely looking to get back to their winning ways, and they will look to do that this week on the 4th as they hit the road to take on Emory at 6:30 p.m. And then they've got their their region rival, Morgan, on the 9th. So they're definitely looking to get back to their winning ways, get started off on the right foot. So good luck, ladies. Safe travels, of course, and bounce back. Bounce back. You definitely got it. You got the capabilities. You know you do. So get out there and make it happen. As for our Deseret Peak Golden Eagles girls volleyball team, they're sitting at 1-8 on the season so far. Last week, looks like they might have been in a tournament over the weekend, but they started their week off against Morgan, where they would lose that one 3-0. Then they played Green Canyon on the 28th, where they would also lose 3-0. But then it looks like it looks like they went to a tournament. Looks like they played Milford. They would lose that one 2-1, and then Parowan as well. They would lose 2-0. So not sure what happened there because I thought it was supposed to be the best of 3, but I don't fully understand everything. I'm not going to pretend like I do, but they will look to get their second win of the season tomorrow at 6:30 p.m. Well, they'll be taking on Bear River on the road. So safe travels. Good luck, ladies. Again, same thing as before, like plenty of season left to turn it around. Just got to believe in yourself. So good luck to you, ladies, and we hope to see a positive turnaround for you guys this week. So that'll kind of cover our games from last week, okay? That our non-football games from last week. Now we're going to get into football. Okay, so we're going to keep it with the team that's winning the most, like I said, we cover the schools within the Tooele County, Utah area, okay? And one thing that we like to do is kind of encourage some of that inter-county, competition a little bit, right? Like you want to be the best school out there, right? At least I think that you do. You want to be the best team, right? In the county, at least, right? Obviously, you want to be the best team in your divisions, conference, or you know what I'm saying. Sorry, but obviously, you want to be the best in those, right? That's what really matters. But I think internally, there's a little bit of bragging rights that come with that, and they're doing the best so far. We haven't had the rivalry games just yet, but in terms of overall record of performance, they're kind of doing the best. So we're going to keep it with Stansbury. Now, Stansbury was on the road on Friday against Uinta. Now, when I did the game day for this one, I thought statistically this was a good matchup, but it doesn't look like it was. It does not look like it was. Stansbury would put a whooping on Uinta, 48-0. They scored 34 points in the first half for the Stallions. The defense played lights out. Lights out. Not only did they shut Uinta out, they had 9 tackles for loss, 5 sacks, 1 interception, listed 7 deflected passes, and 1 fumble recovery. Bronx Baker led the defense with 14 total tackles. Cole Tincher, he led in tackles for loss with 3 and had 2 sacks on the night to go along with it. Colton Dane snagged the interception for the Stallions. So that defense played lights out. Lights out. And the stats must have been adjusted because I did a graphic. I can't remember if I did it Friday night or Saturday morning, but talking about their defense. And at the time, what was listed, his since changed, but not by a whole lot, okay? That Stallions defense held Uinta to 137 passing yards and a 37% completion rate from their quarterback, which is pretty dang impressive from that defense. They only allowed 55 rushing yards for an average of 1.7 per carry. Now, offensively, the Stallions continued their great display, as they have all season so far, with Brighton Reitzel going 10 of 16 for 225 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 0 interceptions, which you love to see that, right? He also had 7 carries for 17 yards and a touchdown. Now, Wyatt Oliver, he leads the team for the first time all season, if I'm not mistaken, in rushing. He had 5 carries for 49 yards, averaging 9.8 per carry. So good job to that young man. Way to get to the top and lead your team, man. Boston Rowley, he led in receiving again with 2 receptions for 86 yards and a touchdown. Now, that young man's having a pretty good year. And all those receivers are having a really good year. So Stansbury moves to a perfect 3-0 on the season and will look to continue their dominance as they head into their first region game on the road this week against the 1-2 Green Canyon Wolves. All right, so good luck to them, obviously, and safe travels. But guys, we were wrong about this. I was wrong. I say we, like there's more than one of me. It's just me, all right? And then all my other personalities, okay? But I was wrong about this team. I truly was. When we did our preseason stuff, I gave way too much credit to the staff changes and what that might do for this team. You know, they had a good season last year, lost a lot of seniors last year. And so I just felt like with all those factors that maybe there was going to be a little bit more of an up and down road for this team. And guys, they have done nothing but prove that wrong throughout these first 3 games. Their offense is clicking. The receiving core that they have is really getting it done. That young quarterback for them, he's really getting it done as well. Honestly, the running game is probably where they're the weakest, and they're not doing bad in that either. So crazy good. The defense seems to be on fire, and we knew that the coach for Stansbury had come from a defensive heavy school and program. So, you know, we figured that was going to transition over, but I didn't think it was going to look as good as it did. As good as it has, let's put it that way, so far. Now, obviously, there's still plenty of season left. You know, you never know what's going to happen. But right now, they look like the team to beat in a lot of ways, and they're doing really phenomenal on both sides of the ball. So, credit where credit is due. We definitely undervalued this team moving in. You know, and I'm sure they've had their mistakes, but and their hiccups along this path, but clearly they're manageable and small. Which I think is a really good sign for this team as they get deeper into the season. So good luck to them on the road. Safe travels, of course, and can't wait to see what you guys do next week for sure. Now, as for our Grantsville Cowboys, they were at home for their season opener on Friday, where they faced the Manti Templars, and they would lose that game 23-7. Yeah, Grantsville loses their home opener. And defensively, I thought the Cowboys did very well against a high-powered offense. You know, if you look at what Manti came in with offensively, I think a lot of it's like when you play a good player in basketball, right? You know they're gonna get their points. The goal is to limit them on how many they get, and I think that Grantsville did a really good job doing that. You know, there's a high-powered offense, and that defense did really well. You know, yes, they let up 273 passing yards, okay, but to be fair, they got beat on like 2 plays where a bad read or a missed. I don't want to say bad read, a missed read. You know, and it just led to a big play for the Templars. And that kind of stuff's going to happen. So yeah, they let up 273 passing yards, but they held the rushing attack of Talapapa. I hope I said that right. Yeah, whatever. You know, he's a pretty big dude, and he runs with a lot of steam behind him, right? And they held him to 51 yards, and thanks to their several sacks and tackles for loss, Manti's overall rushing ended at 14 total yards of rushing offense. So that defense did really good, and I really wish there were stats up because I would love to give specifics, but unfortunately, you guys are stuck with my memory, okay? Which luckily for you, I did take some notes, but you know, there still might be some things off. Nothing was listed is all I can say. And we saw sacks from Jake Rounds. He put a hit on him. I can't remember if it was a quarterback or just a receiver, running back. Can't remember who it was he hit, but he put a hit on him, and I'm pretty sure it led to like a fumble, if I'm not mistaken. I could be wrong about that. We saw sacks from Tracer Clark. Porter Davis, I think, had 2, at least, maybe even 3. Easton Hammond ended up with 1. Jacob Chittister with a big one. Pop, the quarterback, came in. So sacks-wise, the defense did fantastic. Tackles for loss, they did fantastic. They really made Manti beat them in the air. And yeah, they did a really good job. Porter also had a blocked punt and a forced fumble. That young man was everywhere for his defense. You know, they got beat a couple times as expected with a good passing offense, right? But I think they did a great job keeping the game manageable and giving their offense a chance, you know, especially in the second half where Manti didn't score at all. So I think that the defense definitely did the most that they could to give their offense a chance. But that's kind of where it went south, right? It is on the offensive side of the ball. The Cowboys' single touchdown was on the quarterback keeper from Van Vliet after the blocked punt from Porter Davis. That gave them kind of a short field. But that's pretty much where it really ends. I mean, they had some good passes that they kind of moved the sticks a little bit, right? But Van Vliet threw for a listed 4 interceptions. And if I'm being 100% honest, I feel like it might even be a little bit more than that. But it was listed as 4. He was sacked at least 3 times. based off the Manti stats that were listed. And Manti also had 16 tackles for loss. So they were really struggling in that backfield. In particular, Van Vliet was picked off at least 4 times for sure. So good defensive back play by Manti. They just really struggled to get the ball moving. It was, I don't know if it was just because of the success they had last week. Maybe their confidence was high, but a lot of it felt uncharacteristic and forced. I'm not gonna pretend to know whether it was, maybe Van Vliet was just trying to do too much, or maybe that's where the coaches wanted him to go. I'm not really sure. And I don't want to speculate, but the bottom line is that it just wasn't working out. It did not work out well at all. The run game was okay. I felt like that was okay, but it wasn't enough to kind of overshadow the passing struggles. Grantsville's kind of grown accustomed to these big run plays that give them a ton of momentum, I think, especially over the last couple of years. And so when they're not really getting that, it feels like they kind of struggle a little bit to get in whatever rhythm they're looking for. But the run game I felt like was pretty decent. I think they got a lot of positive yards out of it. They may not have got, 30, 40-yard big run touchdowns or something, right? But I felt like it was positive for them. It just wasn't enough to kind of overshadow the passing game. They did give up a safety. The Cowboys gave up a safety on a bad punt snap, but probably for the best, honestly, to avoid giving Manti a short field that probably could have led to a touchdown. So, but it was a bad snap. Coulter Donk tried to run it out. I think it was Coulter. Tried to run it out, and they just ended up getting him. But again, it was probably for the best, to be honest. Instead of giving him a short field, because I don't know that he would have got the first. I mean, obviously, anything could happen, right? But just based off the way that play went, I don't think he would have made it. So it was probably the best thing to happen for him. But Grantsville did catch a lot of breaks with big penalties, but they just couldn't get anything going from it. They just couldn't capitalize off of it. And after what I thought was a turnaround performance offensively for them last week, I didn't expect to see the struggles that we saw on Friday. I really didn't expect that. I mean, I felt like this was a game that could go either way. Obviously Manti's got a high-powered offense. Their defensive stats weren't too bad either coming into this one. So I definitely felt like this game could have gone either way. I just didn't expect it to go the way that it did, to be fair. It was rough. It was definitely a tough outing for our Grantsville Cowboys. So, and it doesn't get any easier for them as they host, they'll be at home. They host the 3-0 Hurricane Tigers this week, who are averaging 313 rushing yards per game. So another tough matchup for that defense, but that defense is definitely showing that they're up for the task. And so at this point, offense, you got to get it together, man. They're doing the best that they can to give you guys opportunities, and you guys got to convert them, man. You guys got to convert them, and I know that you know that. So keep grinding, keep getting there. And if there's a group that I feel very confident that can make a week to week change, I think it's this group. I think at this point the Stansbury Stallions are definitely a group like that as well. If they come out and have a bad game based off what they show, I think that they're definitely that group too. But just based off what I've seen from this Grantsville group, if there's a group of them out there that I feel can make a week to week change, it's this group. So I definitely have confidence in them. It'll be interesting to see what they change, but regardless, they got to change something because, that, 2 of your 3 games have kind of gone very similar, right? And your defenses continue to improve, and they're doing the most that they can, so they kept that game manageable, in my opinion. And I think that if you really look at it, you probably would feel the same way. They kept it manageable. They gave you opportunities. I think Grantsville's usually accustomed to getting those with interceptions. They just did it a different way this week, and it still worked out. So you got to make the most of those. And again, I know you guys know that. So keep your heads up, keep grinding, get back to the drawing board, and get out there and show everybody who you are. So good luck for the Grantsville Cowboys this Friday as they look to turn it around against the Hurricane Tigers. Now, as for Tooele hit the road last week, went around the mountain to take on the Cypress Pirates, where they would lose that one 42-14, despite what looked like a strong performance from their defense as well. that had 8 tackles for loss, 6 sacks, 1 interception. The Buffaloes find themselves now 1-2 on the season. Again, it looked like a pretty strong outing, at least for the defensive line in the front, the front 7 there or whatever, right? But clearly 42 points, obviously, like something went wrong. But it did look like a strong performance from that Buffalo's defense. Noah Valdez and Kami Vanuku, led the team in total tackles with 7 apiece. Voles, not sure how to say that, young man, I apologize, and Luke Dixon each had 2 tackles for loss. Valdez, Vanuku, Shinhua, Dixon, Vowles, and Wing all had a sack apiece. Number 29, William Beamish, a senior, he collected the interception for the Buffaloes. Offensively, Gus Pater was 10 of 22 for 123 yards and a touchdown, but unfortunately he also had 2 interceptions. He also had 10 carries for negative 16 yards, so that definitely doesn't help. He was clearly trying to make something happen, just tackles for loss, things like that. So not going to hold that against him, but it definitely doesn't help any, right? Vanuku, he received most of the attempts again in the rushing attack, going 9 of 36, or 9 carries for 36 yards. So not a whole lot of progress for him there. Maverick Clarkson, he led the team again in receiving, going 6 receptions for 88 yards. He was also 2 for 2 on PATs. He's also their kicker. So good job to that young man on the PATs. I mean, good job in receiving as well, right? It's not a terrible game by any means. Just lower than it has been for him. So, after a turnaround game last week, I think for the Buffaloes, to lose a tough one on the road and they look to bounce back, right? I mean, I think they were extremely happy for the turnaround that they had last week. They're going in against Cyprus, who, speaking with Ballard in his interview, last year, it sounds like Cyprus might have been on a little bit of a revenge tour, right? So I don't know that this is really going to show us a whole lot outside of, obviously there's just still some things to figure out. But I think the most concerning thing is obviously the 36 yards from the running attack. Obviously they want to increase that. I think the passing attack, obviously that's something that you want to be better, but you're seeing the progress in that. Last week we saw Gus Pater get his career high, and it was like, it was 179 or something like that, if I remember right. So they're building that, and so to see back-to-back games above 100, and he's got another touchdown pass. I think he's starting to get a little bit more confident with that. The team's probably starting to get a little bit more confident with it. That's something that I think that you're going to build upon, that's going to benefit you a little bit down the road. But obviously the rushing attack for the Buffaloes, I think they need to get figured out a little bit sooner than later, to help them out a little bit. And defensively, again, it looks like they did pretty well on that, at least the front 7, 8 tackles for loss, 6 sacks. Maybe the secondary is where they fell short. I don't really know. I was trying to watch the game, just couldn't find the dang live stream. It is what it is. But 42-14 is that final last week, so definitely tough. And they look to bounce back. They look to bounce back this week as they head over to the 0-3 Deseret Peak Golden Eagles for our inter-county matchup of the week. So definitely looking to turn it around and also win some bragging rights within the county, right? So, and that leads us into Deseret Peak. The Deseret Peak Golden Eagles were at home last week against Richfield, the Wildcats, where they would lose this one 47-0. Now the Golden Eagles continue to find no answers, losing to the Wildcats on Friday. No stats were listed for Richfield, so I'm not entirely sure what they did. If it was more pass heavy or run heavy, not really sure. Carter Stroyek, he was 7 of 31 for 129 yards and 1 interception. He also led the team in rushing with 14 carries for 48 yards. However, their normal leader in rushing, Cruz Anderson, he really struggled to get anything going for him. He had 6 carries for negative 10 yards, but he did have 5 receptions for 43 yards. William Heimer, he led the team with 2 receptions for 51 yards. Cruz Anderson also led the team in total tackles on defense with 7. Talon Raleigh was 0 of 1 on field goals. So the uphill battle continues for the Deseret Peak Golden Eagles, but they will face the Tooele Buffaloes this week at home. and they've also been struggling and showing signs of inconsistency, right? So, you know, again, with this team, everything's brand new, right? So it's hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel right now, I think. But I definitely feel like the experience that these young players are going to get, because remember, they only took up to juniors. So there's no seniors on this team. It's all new program. A lot of kids who maybe didn't even get a lot of exposure previously to this, they're getting a lot of their exposure right now. And for lack of better phrases, it's ugly, right? I mean, it looks bad. It looks bad. It probably feels even worse. Okay, but the positive to this is that the experience that these young men are getting right now will hopefully, as it should, pay off for them in the next couple years to come. So I think there's a lot of hard lessons being learned for this team right now. And unfortunately, they are hard, and that's probably hard for the players and obviously the fans, right? But it's hard all the way around, right? But you got to keep your eye on the prize. You got to look at the progress. Keep your eye on the goal, right? So it is what it is. Just focus on improving the things that you can control, and I think you'll be fine. Again, the experience that these young players are getting right now, because I don't know the full breakdown, but they're probably playing a lot of sophomores or freshmen too, which most of our other teams aren't, right? You're seeing a lot of juniors and seniors, right? So just keep grinding. Just keep grinding. That's all I can say. Ignore the negative. There's going to be plenty of negative. Just focus on improving what you can improve. Go out there, be a master of your craft to the best of your ability. If you got to get stronger, go get stronger. You got to get faster, go get faster. You got to get smarter, go get smarter. You know what I mean? All those things. Just keep your eye on the prize, and I promise you it'll pay off for you. But right now, it's definitely rough for our Deseret Peak Golden Eagles. And, unfortunately, I think Tooele has been struggling, but I don't like this matchup for them either. I think it's going to be another rough one. It's going to be another rough one, but that's where it's on Tooele, in my opinion, to go out there and show them. Unfortunately, to show that their struggles haven't been because of lack of ability, and so I don't know. It's going to be a tough one, but it will be our first inter-county matchup of the season when it comes to football. So definitely excited for that. Good luck, guys. Go out there. Those games bring a crowd. They bring a crowd, and it should be an electric atmosphere. Go out there and give them hell. Just give them hell. That's all I can say. Go out there and just fight like it's your last chance to ever do anything, and go make something of it. Go shock some people. Yeah, I think that'd be pretty cool. And hey, it is what it is. So again, this is our Monday recap. I hope you enjoyed it. We've got nothing today because of the holiday. Which I knew it was a holiday, but I'd forgot it was a holiday until I started driving to work this morning and realized how much traffic there wasn't. Okay. But, so hopefully everybody's having a great day, enjoying some time off. And I know there's a lot of people off because again, nobody was driving and getting in my way. So, I know a lot of people are off. So I hope you're having a great day. Hope you're enjoying yourselves. To our athletes, hope you're resting up because we got another busy week coming up. So, be on the lookout for the game day stuff that we do. Try to post some of the graphics. Again, nothing today, but I'm pretty sure, I can't remember if it's soccer or volleyball we got kicking off tomorrow. So volleyball, I think it was. So nonetheless, thank you for being with me. Again, this is Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast. You've been listening to the Monday recap for Tooele County High School sports, focusing primarily on Grantsville High School, Tooele High School, Stansbury High School, and the newly added Deseret Peak High School. Okay, so hope you enjoyed it. Please share this stuff out there. Again, you can find us on Facebook, Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast, on Instagram at Unaffiliated SB, I believe, but Unaffiliated Sports Broadcast, on X, formerly known as Twitter, Unaffiliated SB, and obviously our YouTube channel, Unaffiliated SB. The podcast is available on Spreaker, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, YouTube, all those things. All right. The only thing it's really not on is Apple, because Apple doesn't like me. So haven't been able to get it up there just yet. But it is what it is. So everywhere else you can find it though. So I do hope you enjoy it. I enjoyed doing it. it's definitely fun for me. Good luck to all of our teams. Stansbury, keep rolling, man. You guys are crushing it, seriously. To our other 3 schools, hey, bounce back. Keep digging in there. Whatever's not working, you got to figure it out, obviously, right? But like, just focus on that and just get better. Just get better, and you guys will be fine. But you got to believe it. You got to want it. You got to want it more than everybody else wants it for you. You know what I mean? So good luck to everybody. Hey, safe travels if you're traveling for the holiday or whatever. Safe travels to all of our teams as they hit the road this week and face some of these other schools. But as always, guys, thank you for listening. Please take care of yourselves. Please take care of each other. And until next time, I'll see you at the games.